I can't tell you exactly when I first heard of the SA Horrorfest, but it was definitely during the first movie. And I can't remember if Paul reached out to me or if I reached out to him. Either way, one of us reached out to the other, and the dialogue was, you know, I judge people based on handshakes and based on how they interact with me, on the way they articulate themselves, and because we've never actually met in the flesh, we're in two different, you know, zones of the planet. I have to judge people in the way they write, and Paul was incredibly eloquent. Plus, he's an artist himself, which hugely helps. And I also liked what he was doing, how he was creating a kind of a niche in a place that didn't have a lot of this kind of stuff. And I just really liked the guy. And I liked the way they treated my movie. I liked the way they treated it with respect, you know, because Blood for Irina was and remains not a traditional horror film. And I think a lot of people were kind of like isolated as to why the guy who ran Fangoria was making this, you know, slow-moving, dialogue-free, arty vampire movie with no fangs even. But Paul got it and supported it. And he's been a huge supporter of my work ever since. And I'd like to think I am of his as well. So it's been a happy relationship and collaboration, I'd say. I think film festivals are important for the filmmaker. I think that they add an element of prestige and importance to the filmmaker's work, in that they are being presented to an audience for the first time somewhere else than their own backyard. And there's a kind of mystery that builds with film festivals when they start appearing here and appearing there, and people are reading about that and hearing about these movies. And then the audience is actively going at that point to try to find these movies when they get distributed. Obviously as a distribution tool too, which is the most important thing when it comes to film, to make sure that it gets out there so people can see it. But doing a film festival run and having a positive or negative, it doesn't matter, response, helps build the case for a distributor to pick up your movie. So as a business tool, it's hugely important. As a kind of an ego boost to a filmmaker, hugely important. And also there's what a thrill it is as a viewer to be able to kind of, you know, roll the dice and go to film festivals and see movies that normally they'd never see, have the ability to see. But then at the end of the day, when it all boils down, the most important thing is to make sure that that movie gets out there. So I think it's up to the producers, directors to really take all the things that they've kind of learned from the screenings at the festivals and to really use that to make sure that their movie gets to the finish line and gets out there and to find an audience worldwide. I'll tell you something. I think I'm a very personable person. I have no qualms about being social when there's no deadly disease being spat in my face, of course. But I have achieved most of my success by reaching out to people virtually. Maybe that's because I'm by trade a writer, but it gives me time to think about my thoughts before I present them, before I make them flesh, before I give them voice. Sometimes when you're in public, you'll say things you don't want to say, and you can't redact that. And so when you're writing and communicating in that way, you can present exactly what you want to say, exactly how you want to say it to the person. And I found that networking virtually, especially in this day and age of the double-edged sword of social networking, which can be all-consuming and hideous, and toxic and vile and all the ugly things, which it most certainly is, but it's also magical in the sense that we can reach anybody, anytime, anywhere, and have a dialogue and a relationship with them. And I found exploiting these tools, social networking and the internet, and you can do things that you would never, ever have been able to do, would never have been able to dream about doing before there were these kinds of technology. So yes, in person's always great, but I personally respond to the etherverse. Further to what I just said about being connected via the internet, worldwide. It is a global village now. It's different. Do I think North Americans are spoiled? Well, I'm Canadian, so do I think Americans are spoiled? Because Canada is kind of like, we've never been taken particularly seriously by American entertainment entities. We've always been, we're a bigger country, but we have far fewer people. Population is considerably lower, and we don't have as many entertainment outlets where, Americans own it. And Canadians kind of try to imitate it a little bit. Sometimes we try to make it seem like we're better than American entertainment when it's, we're just trying to ape it in a weird way. But I don't see things as countries and territories anymore. I really do see people as people. I see people who respond to certain kinds of entertainment as universal. And I don't think we're spoiled at all. I think anyone who only looks in their backyard for art is not spoiled, but stupid. You just have to kind of search a little bit, and you'll find stuff all over. People always ask me, what's the future of horror, Chris? I'm like, what do you mean the future of what horror? What are we talking about? The horror is omnipresent. It's ongoing. There are amazing horror films coming out all over the world at all times on every sort of platform now, today. Plus, there's a wealth of films out there over the past 100 so years of filmmaking that guaranteed you've never seen. That if you actually just kind of dig a little bit and read a little bit, you'll be able to find stuff you didn't even know existed. So the future of horror is the present of horror, is the past of horror. It's like, it's ongoing, and that goes culturally as well. We will never progress if we just look at our own backyard as to what's happening there. We have to keep looking everywhere, all over the place. There's an embarrassment of riches from coast to coast. So, spoiled, not spoiled. Sure, there's a lot more events and opportunities for you in the flesh to be seen and heard in North America. But, hey, especially today, being seen and heard ain't exactly what people want to be doing. So, you can do that stuff online. You can be on Mars and change the face of film as long as you got a strong Wi-Fi signal. So, we're a global village. At the end of the day, as I've been reinstating often on this spiel, I've loved this stuff since I was little. That'll never change. But what has changed and what will continue to change is the evolution of my love for this stuff. And I see the love of cinema as an adventure. I see the act of making art as an adventure. It's ever evolving. If someone puts up a wall and says, I can't give you this much money, no movie for you, I say, well, that's fine. I'm just going to go out and make one anyways. Nothing is going to stop me from making stuff. And, it's an ongoing adventure. And I'm just really, really happy and excited to have a place like SA Horrorfest that supports the kind of stuff I'm doing. And I'm really excited that a movie made during the pandemic, made with no money, completely freeform, completely part of my psychosis put on screen. A movie like Space Vampire, which doesn't fit anywhere in the confines of the genre, I don't think, ends up fitting somehow and having a home here at the festival. And then I can double it up with my perverse little weirdo psychotronic movie Necropolis Legion, my Full Moon movie, my Charles Band movie. I mean, the two sides of Chris Alexander both on the same bill. I mean, that's unbelievable. What a gift. So anyways, I hope everyone has a great fest. I hope you are digging the awesome movies that are programmed here by the amazing programming crew. And we'll probably see you again.